Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan of Hotels. And today I'm here with Dr. Jay Patel, board member, advisor, everything under the sun for NABHOOD. How are we going on today? What's going on today?
I'm good, Bruce. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Listen, thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
Tell everybody how you got started in this business.
Third generation is coming in. I'm second generation. My parents started in the hotel business in the 70s. Both parents didn't speak, read, or write English. And we were raised in a hotel. We lived in the hotel for 20 years and did our homework on the front desk and flooded the toilet just before we caught the school bus. And just transitioned into it. And then I got into construction development, financing. And so we built hotels all along I-10. You can practically pick an exit, and we've either built one or bought one and developed it. We found the hospitality industry very unique. We had a unique market of Asian Americans. As you know, the Asian American hotels control 60% of all hotels in the U.S.
Correct.
And so as an early member of the Asian Americans, we worked very aggressively from several hundred hotels to now 26,000 hotels across the U.S. And so we had a unlimited access of developers and owners that liked properties that were ready to go. I learned from people that they didn't want to deal with construction, they didn't want to deal with renovation, and they were interested in buying something that was already making money. So for us, it was buy low, renovate, stabilize, and then sell. And so we made our money quite well in the transition, because once we had bought a property or announced we're developing, there was 5 people knocking on the door, can I buy it as soon as you open? Yeah, so that was a great strategy we used, and that we would lock them into the deals. And then we'd build it, and then we'd offload it and move to the next location. We got to the point where we would do our due diligence. And when I made the announcement I was building a hotel, 2 other guys across the street started to buy land and go, well, you've done your homework. We don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. So wherever they're Nashville building, we're going to build another one right across the street.
That's a good one. But that's smart, by the way. Like, 'cause you see that with Costco and BJ's. Where there's a Costco, there's a BJ's, because they like, why we need to do the homework? Costco already did it.
That's actually what happened to McDonald's. When McDonald's would build Burger King and Wendy's, and everybody else said, look, they've done the homework. There's a market here. So they start doing the same thing. So that just didn't happen to us, but they saw the people that were the aggressive developers and said, let's just follow them because they know what they're doing. So we were fortunate. And then so over the years, we worked very aggressively in the hotel industry. The platform we developed for AHOA was to educate the Asian Americans on the do's and don'ts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have people that were uneducated, we would educate them on the ABCs of ownership, ABCs of franchising, ABCs of insurance, ABCs of renovations. And, you know, my philosophy was, let's put a platform together, bring the experts, let everybody come, and these experts are the tools that you get. And similarly, that's what happened to NABHOOD. Andy had met me at a multicultural tourism conference and said, how do we African Americans get into hotels? And for me, it was an easy answer. I said, Andy, you copy and paste what we've done. I said, there's 10,000 hotels back then. And so we must have done something right.
That's right.
So I said, let's create a platform, bring the experts, advisors, and then encourage people to come and have them learn. The old saying is, I can bring the horse to the water, but the horse, you have to make the horse drink. So what NABHOOD is a platform, AHOA is a platform of exactly that. We bring the resources, and this is an opportunity for you to become. And throughout the years, people that were motivated, that were elevated to getting into their own business, the trajectory has moved not just for the Asian American very aggressively, but the African American.
Nice. Listen, a lot of people really don't know how this whole thing began. It's been around for such a long time that you kind of forget the history. So, yeah. So
It was over a beer. Andy and I were drinking beer, and I said, "Copy what we're doing." And we started in the Asian American community by accident, because what had happened was there was a gentleman in northern Florida that had set his hotel on fire. And the fire marshal had determined arson. So the insurance companies decided all Patels were arsonists. So across the board, our insurance renewals were canceling, and we'd call each other and say, I got a cancellation. So we banded together to educate the industry that not all Patels or Indians are arsonists. Look at our history, what we do. And we were a different culture where we came from and how we got into hotels. And we were able to educate the industry and said, this works. And so we said, let's continue it. Wow. And that's how kind of the Asian American grew from 1989 to several hundred hotels to now, with 60% of all hotels in the U.S. Then we have our membership of about 18,000.
Yeah, it's really, really high.
Yeah. But we are the largest association in the world. Our platform consists of almost 700 vendors, and we do an annual conference every year. Next year is New Orleans. The year after that is in California. But the important factor is we also do 16 to 18 regional conferences for people that can't come to the annual. And we have about 30 to 40 town hall meetings across the country.
That's fantastic.
Provide advocacy, education. We have a corporate office over in Atlanta, and we also have an office in D.C. We're I believe, the third largest PAC fund in the hospitality industry.
I've always wondered, because a lot of people don't know what associations do. Yeah. So just lay it out for them, like, this is what association is for, this is what we do, and this is how we help the industry.
Most associations are education-based. And I always educate people by saying what we do is bringing education to people to learn. The education is a proponent to the success of how we build the pillars of this community. And across the country, you've got thousands of hotels that were being built, but a lot of the people that wanted to get into hotel are mom and pop operators. They're investing in their life savings, they're cashing in the 401ks so they can be in their own business. So this is the guidance, the resources to where to buy insurance from, where to do a feasibility study, where to talk to SB about getting financing, what to look for when you talk to a bank, and how to approach a franchise and negotiate a franchise agreement. It's kind of a volunteer job what we do, but people realize the need that if I'm really going to risk my money, I need to learn the business. And in my speeches when I talk to NABHOOD and AHOA, I always tell people the first time hoteliers that come here, first, you got to know what you're doing before you can ask an investor, would you invest with me?
That's right.
They've got to feel comfortable. And, not everybody has $50 million in the bank and, have access to Wall Street. 98% of the franchisees in this country are all mom and pop operators, vision of wanting to be in their own business. So we kind of collaborate, bring them all the resources and all the stories of what not to do and how to do it.
Education is extremely important. Even for people that's already in the industry. I went to a conference and, they really don't notify you what's really going on. And I found out that this particular franchise, they stopped HBO. So HBO wasn't mandatory. Had I not been to that conference, I would have still been paying 10, 15 grand just to have HBO inside the hotel. That's right. So, like, what do you think hotel owners should do to make sure that people at the property level are educated and get into these conferences?
Well, the brand has a certain responsibility to educate people, but getting involved is the most important portion. Get involved with your franchise advisory council. Get involved with your brands and see what's happening. Ask questions. You're a franchisee. You're among 7,000, 8,000 franchisees, so speak to other franchises and collaborate. My background originally started back in 1989 when I saw, too many franchise agreements being signed. And so I looked at the franchise agreement. I'm a guy that reads a lot of stuff constantly. And so when I read what was in those agreements, you got a 500-page franchise disclosure document, you got a 300-page franchise agreement. And I'll tell you a unique story that we challenged the industry, one of the brands a long time ago. And your franchise agreements are 300 pages, and they volunteered to adjust the contract, and they dropped it down like 30 or 40 pages. And so I went through the agreement, and all they did was reduce the font size. Oh, that made me get back. Okay, so we're idiots, right? Our pages are only 34 pages instead of 49 pages. But the need was people were signing franchise agreements without reading them. Much similar to when you buy a phone.
Yeah.
And you get a Apple phone.
Yeah.
Verizon makes you sign, and the details are so small that we all just agree and said, yes, I agree. Has anybody ever read those? You'd be amazed if you took a what do you call it, a binocular, and read all that stuff. Are you kidding me? We waived all our rights to everything. This thing can blow up in your face and kill you, and yes, but you already said, I'll waive my rights to suing you. So back to franchising. So we decided in 1999 there was a need to educate. So I took the franchise agreements with a group of experts, and we co-wrote the 12 points of fair franchising. At one point, the brands always thought that the 12 points were something we telling them how to do business. But it was intended to educate people of here's the 12 points. You're not going to read a 500-page document, but go to an expert attorney, go to an expert accountant, have them look at this and see what you can negotiate. And so somebody told me, well, why 12? Why not 10? Or why not 15? Or why not 3? I said, well, the old adage is if you ask for 12, you get 6. If you ask for 6, you get 3. You ask for 3, you get 1. So I said, we developed 12 knowing that nobody will ever agree to all 12.
Yeah.
But some brands would collectively look at different things. And this was the tool for you to say, here's what I'm going to do, because we're signing a 20-year agreement.
Yeah.
That's a partnership. That's a marriage.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to be able to talk with your partner and say, here's your responsibility, but here's my responsibility. But if something goes wrong, we need to know where we stand.
It's weird how that, it costs more to get out of a franchise agreement than the divorce. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go to bed with the franchise.
Well, it has to be true, because how these Wall Street companies work is they leverage that contract against Wall Street, and they're able to borrow money because you've got a 20-year residual income. So they know that this one contract is worth $2 million in royalties between now and 20 years. So when you cancel it, they've got to make up for that, because Wall Street or hedge funds have borrowed these companies to go buy another brand here, and they've borrowed $50 million on the income that's coming. See what I'm saying? So we're really impeding when we say we want to get out. Wait a minute, we want to get out. We've already placed your revenues as a debt service to another organization. So when you kind of move all the money around, that's why liquidating damages are high. But it's in the best interest of the franchisor, not in the franchisees.
Absolutely.
Now, in the cases of the brands that succeed, that do well, they give you a good return on investment, you'll never have that problem. But there's a lot of bad actors out there. They promise you the world, but they can't deliver.
No, they cannot.
Yeah. And they're so busy trying to impress their investors in Wall Street that they have quotas to meet. They'll bring in people and sign franchise agreements that doesn't have the qualification, don't have the asset that can qualify to convert because the debt is already too high. Banks are saying, we're not going to borrow you no more money. Are you kidding me? You already owe me $5 million. And the capital is not there. The expertise are not there. But they bring them in the system, and then they don't end up opening. Yeah, and so the principal values are missing by some of the brands that give everybody else a bad name.
That's terrible. I know. Go ahead and name the names of all the brands.
Hey, I don't want to get my ears shot off. Well, give me this speech.
Yeah, you can't go against the franchise Illuminati over there.
I don't need a sniper in that building.
Man, so what are some of the other tips that, for me, one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way is how, like, in every agreement there, you can't file a class action lawsuit. Yes. So everybody's having the same problem. They tell you you can't file a class action lawsuit, right, but you can file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. Yes. And I feel like a lot of people should be doing that, especially when it comes to, like, these rewards programs that they bill you up the butt for. Like, it's crazy how much we're paying for these rewards programs.
So these agreements are really designed by franchise attorneys. Mm-hmm. It's not the company. Every time a franchisor goes to court and loses a case, they come up with a better strategy and a better language so we don't have this problem again. That's just good business. Mm-hmm. But it's unfortunate because the agreements become one-sided and the franchisees don't have a say-so in it. And over the years, they've just gotten tighter and tighter and tighter, which gives you very little to none wiggle room. And they automatically, you're waiving your rights to a jury trial. I mean, it's mandatory with all brands, you go to arbitration now. Jury trials were never good back in the 70s and the 80s because the 12-member jury would look at you and say, this big bad company did really bad, and these guys were struggling, and they lost their life savings, and so they would award them. So now you waive your right to a jury trial. You can only go to an arbitrator. Arbitrators are very expensive, and you've got 3 judges that are corporate lawyers that understand contract. So while I may, as a corporate lawyer that's an arbitrator, feel bad for you, that you got burnt and you lost your life savings and you're now 50 years old, but I still got to follow the letter of the law. The contract still said you signed it and you did this and you agreed to this. So I've got to make a constructive decision on right and wrong based on the contract because we're here disputing what's in the contract, regardless of my emotions for this poor guy or whether the brand was a big bad wolf. Mm-hmm. So language has been changed. And then there was a hypothetical scenarios of franchises getting upset and wanting to do class action. So it's in there. You waive your right to it. So if you ever did one, then go to the judge and say, wait a minute, but judge, they agreed. So the judge has to say, technically you agreed, so I'm throwing this case out. Yeah. But people don't read that. They're fine.
Yeah, they don't even think about that because they're so sold on the information. Oh, you're going to make $1 billion in one night, and you're going to.
Well, I always use the analogy of marriage. When you meet that girl and you fall in love, and when you get married, all you see is the future is going to be great, and then 50% of the marriages fall apart.
Yeah,
2 years, 5 years, 10 years from you, and you realize, where did I go wrong? Mm-hmm. Why didn't I even think of this would ever happen? But you didn't read the agreement. You didn't look that far enough to think it could happen. So it happened. Franchise agreements are the same way. You're excited. You want to show your friends that you're in your own business and you're opening this beautiful, cookie company or a franchise or a McDonald's or a hotel. And that excitement gets you overwhelmed. So in order to get it done, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Where do I sign? And so my role was to educate people before you do sign and you're excited. Mm-hmm. Make sure you cover these bases so you understand.
Oh, nice. Listen, thank you so much for being on the show. Listen, this was a goodie right here. We got some information that we never even heard of before, okay? So how can everybody get in touch with you?
My number is 850-857-2589. I'm with NABHOOD Construction, so if you Google Nashbuilt, you'll find my information, my office number, as well as my email and stuff. And feel free to reach out. I've committed. My mom used to say when I was young, son, you're so busy, but you've got something here. Do me a favor before you go. Share it with somebody. Don't take it upstairs and take all the knowledge with you. Share it. And so that was my principal desire and value of giving back.
Nice.
And so if I can teach somebody my experiences and make a difference in somebody else's life, to me, that's a blessing.
Absolutely. And this is why we have this show. This is why we have this channel, so we can give back. Because when you go in this alone, you have no idea. Like, there's a whole army behind someone else, and you're going at it alone. you don't have the how can I say it? You don't have the army behind you, but you have the army here where you get the knowledge and information to defend yourself. So,
Don't be afraid. It's your investment you're making,
yeah.
and it's other people that's trusting you in making an investment. So don't be afraid to ask 2 questions, 3 questions. I'll leave you with the last word: measure twice, cut once. Because once you cut, you've got to live with it.
And always just get in touch with Jay. That's the most important part. Get in touch with Jay. He won't steer you in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Thank you for watching another episode. This is Bruce Jordan, the Michael Jordan Hotel, signing out. This episode was brought to you by the Hotel Revenue Bible, the #1 hotel revenue book that has ever been written. It includes revenue management, digital ads, social media marketing, sales, catering, F&B, and more. Grab your copy today at hotelrevenuebible.com.